We've had an Arctic blast here in the upstate, and in fact, all across South Carolina, with many counties having the rare occasion of having snow on the ground. Many county schools and government offices were closed or delayed in opening because of the snow. Pretty unusual for this part of our country, but it does allow for investigating natural phenomena that we may not see each year. As I was hiking the other day, along the edge of a hillside, I noticed these beautiful formations of clusters of columns of ice. They were about 2 to 3 inches long, maybe 1/4 or less inch wide, and connected together like organ pipes. Have you ever seen these tiny icy columns lifting out of the soil? Today, we're diving into the cool, yes, pun intended, world of needle ice, a natural phenomenon that's small in size but can have a larger impact on the environment. Welcome to Nature of the Upstate, a podcast sharing my investigations of the natural world around the upstate. I'm your host, Laura Beltran with Nature Investigations. Since I'm new to the upstate South Carolina area, I thought I'd research different nature topics and things I've observed while exploring the outdoors and share my findings with you. So sit back, enjoy listening, and please subscribe. And remember to spend time outdoors. So needle ice. Thin, bristle-like ice crystals that form at or just beneath the soil surface only when certain conditions are met. It can be found all over the world, from the sub-Antarctic all the way here to South Carolina, as long as these conditions are met. Let's investigate what needle ice is, how it forms, its effects on ecosystems, and why it matters to us. Here are the things needed for formation. First, you need to have saturated soil, because of course you need to have water. But the key here is that the soil has to be warm enough so that the water in the soil stays in its liquid state. Second, you need cold air below freezing. You need a cold, clear, windless night where there will be heat loss from the surface of the ground. Last, you need soil pores, those small pockets of space between solid soil material that are large enough to allow water to flow upward. We'll get to that in a minute, but small enough so that the water doesn't drain away by gravity. Sandy loam and fine soils are just right. Then, by capillary action, water moves upward, comes in contact with that thin layer of ice on the surface, freezes into its tube-like shape, and voila, forms needle ice. And in case you don't remember what capillary action is, it's the ability of a liquid, not just water, to move through narrow spaces without external forces, like gravity, driving it. This happens because of the interaction between the liquid's molecules, cohesion, and their attraction to surrounding surfaces, adhesion. I think of it like stickiness. Water molecules sticking to other molecules and also sticking to the sides of the tube, in this case, the soil column. Keep in mind, though, that stickiness isn't scientific. It's just a way of understanding it all. Essentially, the liquid climbs or is drawn up through tiny pores or tubes due to these forces working together. Other factors like how steep a slope is and the direction or aspect that the slope faces also influences the formation of needle ice. Although really cool to see, and yes, I recommend searching for needle ice during really cold spells on your hikes in the upstate, needle ice plays a role in the ecosystem. What role could these tiny icy structures play? There are 3 ways that needle ice influences the environment around it. First and foremost, it affects soil and sediment movement, essentially erosion. In fact, scientists have conducted studies on how much needle ice causes this erosion. For 21 years in Japan, scientists studied how needle ice moves soil and rocks. On the slope being studied, needle ice formed up to 85 times per year, and it could move 15 to 78 centimeters, or about 6 to 31 inches of soil, and move stones 10 to 27 centimeters, or about 4 to 11 inches wide downhill, about 5 inches each year. That's a lot of movement from small ice columns. Another study in southern Africa found that needle ice indirectly promotes erosion by loosening soil along stream banks, partially causing sedimentation of streams. Second, needle ice may impact plants as well. Research in Canada and British Columbia found that needle ice can damage the roots of seedlings, and that can cause problems with lawns and crops. The needle ice lifts and breaks the roots. Fortunately, they discovered that by understanding local frost patterns, they could plan safer planting dates. Early seeding and promoting dense root systems minimize the damage from needle ice. Third, needle ice, and ice in general, plays a geomorphic role, creating microtopography that leads to variability in the landscape. Variability often supports greater biodiversity, meaning more critters and plants on the landscape. That sounds good to me. Why does it matter to understand the role of needle ice? With climate change, freeze-thaw cycles are becoming more variable, potentially altering where and how needle ice forms. Warming temperatures may be increasing needle ice activity by reducing the time snow covers the ground. This could lead to more frequent soil and stone movements over time. That may mean more erosion in places that we haven't seen it before, or erosion increasing in places where it used to happen on a smaller scale. Models predicting erosion, especially in colder climates, need to account for needle ice effects. Understanding the causes and the amount of erosion is significant because erosion on a larger scale means losing a valuable resource, soil, and sediment possibly clogging rivers. Needle ice is just one of the many ice formations in winter, so I invite you to look for ice formations on your next outdoor adventure. It also reminds us that even small things in nature can have a larger impact. If you'd like more information, you can see my references in the show notes. Also, please think of subscribing. And if you're interested in tips and lessons for interpretation and environmental education, look for my Substack, The Interpretive Edge. Let's get outside, Upstate.